So let's start. We'll start with a little bit of a spiel. I will moderate questions. We'll use questions from today's list. We'll go, or sorry, the 7 p.m. list, and then we'll go back to some from the 3 p.m. list, and keep dropping in more questions. We want to wrap this thing up by 8, maybe 8:05, since we started a little late. Um, but let's start with our intro spiel. Let me do my words, and we'll jump around and hear some other people talk as well. So we're starting this thing. This is the IVRL. We're launching with a tournament, which starts on August 30th. It's gonna be a 5-week tournament with a finals week as well after that. And it's kind of a test bed ground for us to test a lot of things out, see what people like. We want to experiment with it. We want to, build a platform that we can run it on, test out some tools, test out lots of stuff. And then hopefully, after that, at some point, we will run a proper season one. But a big part of this is getting feedback, and these town halls are a way for us to do it amongst other processes that we'll have. But we want to hold these regularly, so that we can have these group sessions with people who want to hear about development, and we can hear your opinions as well. This one is primarily Q&A because there's a lot of questions, but future ones, might incorporate um, feedback and other things as well. So that's my intro spiel. Sickness. Do you want to sickness trip? Anybody else want to chime in and add some more stuff?
I'll
No.
defer to you,
I mean,
Trip.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's I mean, I feel like a lot of these names I saw in the earlier one and they just want more info. And for those of you that are new and didn't come to the one earlier, we're starting this as a community based, and we intend to finish it as a community based league whenever that happens. It will hopefully never change. That is the goal. And that's why we're here, and that's hopefully why we think you're here. You want to have a say in what happens in the league that you play in.
Sickness?
And
Anything?
yeah. And I think I'll just add, that we've got a lot of faith in the team we got here. And to kind of echo what Trip said is that, this is all designed to be sort of molded around the community's opinion of what a league should look like. And we really wanted to make sure that the main things, starting with these town halls, is to show you right off the bat that your concerns and questions, that we're hearing those. And those raise questions internally with us that we may not be asking each other. And that's why it's so productive and helpful to hold an event like this.
And speaking of team, I mean, there's folks here who you don't see, who are are busy or not available right now. But we've got a really talented team of people who have a lot of experience with VR esports, with esports in general, creative people, organizational people, people who know how to write rules. I mean, it's just a really stacked team. Some names that aren't here. We've got Viper, we've got Thunder Pilot, um, as well as several other folks. We've got some professional folks in the kind of VR brand building world who are helping us with this as well. So that's I think one of our biggest assets for this that we're really excited about. We all enjoy working with each other, and we want to build something pretty awesome. That's our collective vision for what we imagine an esports league to be, starting with Onward primarily. James, Trip, Mr. Trip, anything else you guys want to add to this before we jump towards tournament info?
Um, I'll just talk to what I said last time. And again, those will be available if you want to listen back. I think they're going to get posted at some point somewhere. Um, but talking to that is also the on the community aspect is on the moderation side, having that bottom up feedback all the way up to the top. So there's it's all about onward. Um, I shouldn't have read town hall questions whilst talking. Um, uh, so you've got to say all the way up to the top, and the onward specific moderation with community feedback and community oversight, um, all that sort of fun stuff.
yeah, and only thing, just to echo the whole thing about community first, that's like a very strong thing that we all agree on, that the community will be a large part of making the IVRL what it will turn into, with constant like feedback and voting, and big decisions, small decisions going through the community, and also we're building web and platform um, to be able to manage tournaments, different formats of tournaments, different formats of matches, not just the standard format. So we're able to host a variety of different activities, and also we're planning we want to take feedback for that as well. So if there's features or things that you would like to see on the platform or web or bots that will help the community, help the game be more interested, then we're going to be building that out quite well as fast as we can.
All right, let's jump into our Summer Showdown tournament and give some info on that. James, do you want to give us the highlights, headliners on what the tournament format's going to be, what's new, what's fun, exciting about it?
All right, let's do it. Okay, so the Summer Showdown is going to be a tournament which is run over multiple weeks of a Swiss style. So, like a mini league type thing. You get a matchup each week and you play the matchup and blah, blah, blah. In terms of how it may differ, we're still just getting the final little details, but we're looking at a two map format with each team hosting their own map to take some of that discrepancy out of it. So two map format. Uh, that's pretty much the big difference, isn't it? We're potentially looking at pre-selecting maps so that we can get a good range of maps played over the tournament, so that we can view the different maps and potentially vet them for the league, standard stuff like that. Looking at having two divisions, so NA and EU, so that the time zones work out a bit better. However, if there are not enough EU signups, then they may need to get integrated into the NA side. So tell all your friends, all that sort of fun stuff. Anything else? We'll be trying out a few more subtle rule changes. I can talk to more detail on that later. But just speaking about the tournament, we're looking at starting it on the 30th, and signups will be out soonish. It's all on the website side. Um, Anything I've missed on the tournament? Final week, having a final week at the end of it.
Yep, yep. Top teams get to play in a final bracketed or round robin style thing to determine the winner, and we will use results from this tournament to precede rankings for the season one that will come down the line. Of course, if you don't play in the tournament or you play in a different team, whatever it be, there will be other ways as well to sort out that initial ranking for a team. But we want to use this tournament as a way to precede teams. Um, and yeah, feedback is going to be a big part of this. We're like James said, we're trialing out stuff like this two map format, so there will be ties. But that's kind of a new thing for a lot of people. But there's nothing wrong with ties inherently, so we want to see what happens if we have ties. Um, so stuff like that, we'll get to test, trial, and see if it works, or if it doesn't work, we change it up for season one. Okay. So that is stuff on the tournament itself. Let's jump towards a big kind of theme that we saw in questions both earlier today as well as the questions that came in today. So this question these questions revolve around: why does IVRL exist? Who are you? Why are you doing this? What is the problem you're solving? And what is this whole thing going to be about? And I think that this question, it's a hard question to answer, but one that we've all been thinking about for a while. And let me give my response to it first. I saw Mama just joined. We'll have you chime in a bit onto this as well. And anybody else who wants to talk about it. But we as a team started this thing because VR esports is growing exponentially, and all of us have been in this competitive scene, and we see room for multiple leagues, and we chose to start building this one because it fits the visions that we have for what this VR esports league should look like. First and foremost, we value community input and building a positive community. Everything else comes second. We believe in fair and competitive play. fair rules, fair structures, fair decisions that are made in timely manner. We believe in a strong foundational structure for the league that can make decisions in the best interest. We believe in player input for important decisions. We want to build events, tournaments, and content that's going to grow the games that are the platforms that we all kind of play on. And finally, this is going to be a volunteer-run league. So if we're not having fun, what are we doing this for? So that's very important as well. But these are kind of the things that we want to see out of this league, and I'm sure many of you might agree with this. But we're building this because we don't see this right now elsewhere, and we think that we can differentiate ourselves and build that. So that's going to be my kickoff to the who are we question. Mama, do you want to chime in on that one?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I mean, most everybody knows, we all have our reasons as to why we're here. We love the game, we love the people, we love the community. Um, Basically, that's it. I mean, we've got an awesome team. We're, working super hard to bring you guys the best we can, the best that we know how, and we're looking forward to, making it the best as possible. But obviously, we need your help to do that. So, other than that, I don't have too much. I'm trying to catch up on reading too. So, let's see.
Anybody else want to talk about who are we? Why are we doing this?
Sure. um, as most of us here are longtime tenured Onward VR players, we've seen the ups and downs of the competitive scene and, sort of some new exciting stuff and then some stagnation and stuff like that. And I think we just kind of wanted to start in an upward trend and then just maintain that, throughout the entirety of it. There's going to be, I see some questions and stuff in here that we may not have direct answers to. And that isn't because we haven't thought about them. It's because we're building a foundation. But as we've stressed to you guys repeatedly, for those of you who were here earlier, this is a community-oriented league, and your feedback is extremely valued, and it will help us shape things moving forward. So some of these things we have like baseline ideas to, but really we're kind of waiting to put together the committees and the panels of players so that we can start receiving the really constructive feedback that's going to help us really formulate the definitive structure as we move forward.
Did you guys get to any of the?
We haven't gotten to questions yet.
Okay, thank you. No, thank you. I was going to ask something else, but then no. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, we just started off with kind of answering the bracket big question in the room.
Sweet.
Why do we exist?
Yeah, sorry I was late.
All good. Okay. The next one I want to kind of point to is how are we going to have player feedback in the process of building this league as well as in any decisions that get made. I think, this town hall is an example of that, but what else are we going to do to have player feedback? Um, Trip, do you want to take this one?
Me Trip or other Trip?
You Trip.
Okay, yeah. So aside from the town halls, like Etch said, and just being regularly active in this Discord, I mean, these guys are around all the time. We will have a player advisory committee, which is league veterans and new players. There's no defining factor on how long you've been around, but it's players that can make and maintain cool heads while having differing opinions and make good arguments for things that come up, like shields, like flash timers, like map changes, whatever it may be that affects more of the league. If it affects the players, they will have oversight onto it. We also have 3 tiers of mods. We have the tier 3 mods, which are community managers, chat mods. They hand out bans, not bans, but mutes and handle the day-to-day questions. We have tier 2, which is more referees. So they are the ones that should know the rules, black and white, and be able to make a ruling on a match at a specific point in time, and then it can be appealed later if you disagree, but they are the ones that will be making those calls at that point in time. And then we have tier 1 mods, which are the ones looking forward to the future, some of the things that we noticed before in other areas were you could not maintain a future presence while still controlling the present, and so we have two separate teams for that, and that we hope that that gives us a little bit more expertise and a little bit more flexibility on how we want to run things, as well as captain's votes and straw polls for things that affect the league as well. Um, yeah, so basically, we're trying to get as many opportunities for the community to give us their opinion. And as far as I'm aware, there are no unilateral decisions that will ever be made in this league without oversight. It's just not going to happen. That's not how we're going to run things.
Part of that is making sure that everybody is involved community wise. Sorry, you guys are going to hear my dogs in the background. Let me close the door. Um, but we'd like to make sure, I mean, I think a lot of you who know me know that I'm very community driven, and I like to make sure that we all stay together. We all stick together. We all stay together. And that's basically also what we're trying to do is make sure that we all play together, stay together.
Yeah, I think that mostly sums up player feedback and involvement. So if you haven't yet, do apply for the player advisory panel slash council. Some of the folks who are in that council I see are in the audience. It's we're excited about that role. A small group of veteran league players who can provide insight into major decisions. Um, in these town halls, I think we really like this format. We've found that people who attended the last one liked it a lot. We hope you guys like it as well. For transparency as well as knowing what's going on, raising concerns, etc., so we can have a pulse on the community that we are trying to build. So those are our first two major questions. I want to kind of get out of the way with some big responses. Let's get into some specific questions. Um, let's start with this question. Will custom maps be included in the map pool? James, you want to take this one?
Uh, they're certainly not included. It's not something which has been decided yet, and it'll be one of those things which will be discussed with the player advisory council and also captains. It's custom maps would need good vetting, and I think we need a bit more. Would need involvement from the map maker itself to make sure that if there are concerns, that there's willingness to address them. Um, However, it's not something we've had opposition to within our internal discussions, but it's not something which has been decided. Um, so yeah, feedback on that would be appreciated. Certainly, that's that's pretty much that one. As much information as I have on that one.
Okay. Let's jump to what is the level of involvement and support that DPI is providing? Are we going to be playing the full onward competitive experience? Um, what what is our opinion about the mechanics for um, the entire onward array of tools? Mama, do you want to talk a bit about the DPI involvement to start off?
Yeah. Yeah. So Seren did pop into our earlier meeting, and she wanted to let everybody know that DPI will be involved. First and foremost, their game comes first. We all can understand that. Um, the other thing is that, because they are now associated or along with rooted with Facebook, that they will still sponsor people, and they will be looking to sponsor people, but they won't be able to sponsor as they once did. The years before, we've seen pretty decent sized sponsors, um, numbers coming from them for the league players and for the tournaments and such. But we won't be seeing that as much. We'll still see it, but not the quantity. The quantity won't be as much as what they're thinking. But they will still be involved with us as we were before. We had weekly meetings. We made sure that We were sitting with DPI on a regular basis. It was myself, James, Geek, Casper, and Sarin, and we were always in touch with each other, making sure that we knew what the plan was, what was going, what was wrong, how do we fix this, can we put this on the list. I mean, we know that they have a huge list of things that need to be done, but the thing is, we were always working together to try to get, the things that we needed for the league to help the league. So, yes, DPI will be involved.
I think on the answer of, opening up more parts of the game, it is one thing that we discussed so far is that things get banned a lot of times when they come in and because they have issues or bugs or whatever, and it takes a long time to bring them back in. And that's something that we want to fix, or at least find a way to vet them along each patch, and if they are working, let's bring them back quickly. Um, and we want to revisit, the traditional comp rules of how things are banned and so forth, and see if those bans are valid, see if they are fair. One of the ones, for example, is the M203. Finding ways to see if we can open that up more. If there's interest in having that on more maps than normally it's been done on. Things like utility timers are all things that we're definitely evaluating, and there will be feedback, requests as we come up with um, plans for those.
That's all also
And I just
part of the league, the tournament itself is for vetting. The rules for the tournament will not necessarily carry forward to the rules for the season. There is absolutely room for change there.
Can I just
Yep.
expand and clarify a couple of things Mama said?
Mhm.
Which, if you listen to the previous town hall, Siren mentioned it. Um, on the sponsorship side, that's not just for us. I just want to clarify that's for across the board for all
Yes, thank
leagues
you.
which DPI are involved with. They are changing the way they're doing that, so that's not like we'd be getting treated differently. And also reflecting back to what was said on the tier one type mods, that was one of the intent for the tier one mods, and having that tier system is to free them up to be more engaged with the likes of DPI to ensure that those strategic level feedbacks on potential map problems and game problems are actually followed through and delivered to DPI and then continue to be worked on so that the game improves. They're very receptive to that. Um, they have been in the past certainly, and I'm sure they are going forward. They appreciate that feedback because ultimately they just want their game to be better.
Thank you, James.
So, I want to jump to another question from Hecklack. Actually, that's kind of a follow up to that one. It's a great question. I hope this doesn't come across as personal, but it's for the founding group. You guys have known each other for a long time, veteran group. I believe the initial advisory application will be chosen by you guys. Are there measures in place to make sure that it doesn't end up becoming some inner circle thing where it's just the people you know are close with? This is a major issue with many organizations. So definitely, this is a great question and one that we've been thinking about. We've been looking at how can we create good foundational structures that will survive over time, that aren't dependent on one or two people, that aren't just the inner circle that you're talking about. How do we get representation of more of the league? So a lot of the early roles, are interim in many ways. Us as the founding board are here because we were the original team that's been working on this. But once we get to league operations, we are looking at things like voted in roles. We're looking at roles that have terms, and then you have to go for a revote after a certain term. And we're looking at systems that also have, like for example, the player advisory panel might have, nominations followed by votes as one example of how it might happen. But originally, kind of early on when we're founding all of this, we are doing our best to have as much representation from the league as possible, having EU folks, NA people, and trying not to base those decisions on people's opinions, but on how they convey them. So we're hoping to have a very fair process with that, but we're still figuring out the final processes that are going to be in place. So come season 2, perhaps we might have a very different way of how the PAP gets formed, or how who how the mods get chosen, and so forth. But ultimately, that's a work in progress, and we will have more on that later down the line. But anybody else want to add to that question?
I think you pretty
Uh,
much hit it.
yeah, for sure. Definitely nailed that one. Um, So one of the other things I did want to mention also is it's very, as Etch said, I need to make sure that everybody understands that yes, it- we're getting things up and going. I don't want to keep repeating, but we are getting things up and going, and things will change as we go along. So just keep that in mind. Be patient. We will get there. We're already there almost. Sorry, I'm just excited.
All right, let's jump to some more. Can we participate in this league as well as the VRML? Sickness, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. You can participate in this league as well as the VRML. We're not giving you any kind of ultimatum. That would be the exact opposite kind of the goal that we're going for. We're not trying to monopolize your time necessarily. All we are really trying to do is bring our vision out, get the community's feedback, and then form what the community's looking for. You know, if you choose to play here and not there, that's fine. If you choose to play in both, that's fine. If you choose to play there and not here, that's fine. All we're really trying to do is just provide the best possible experience that we can with your help.
Alrighty, let's jump to is the league considering a verification system for players, something like a virtual interview to join the league to create a sense of responsibility among players, etc. Uh, Triple, you want to take this one on what we're doing for new players? Along with this, let's tackle the questions about bans and escalated player hearings and so forth.
Yeah, so the signups are going to be through Discord. You authenticate against your Discord account. While that doesn't necessarily stop someone from making multiple, it does give us more information to look into those accusations. And honestly, like for the interview thing, I feel like that might be a little excessive. I don't know about the rest of you, but we are requiring players that have previous bans in any competitive league or VAC bans or anything like that. They have to disclose that at the point of application. If they don't, that's punishable. If they do, it goes before the player advisory panel and they vet it to make sure that, you know, this is someone, okay, this ban was 3 years ago when they got caught cheating in CS:GO, and they write up a statement about why they think they should still be allowed, and it goes before the players and the players vote on it. It's not a instant ban for anyone, and it's not our decision to make. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
I think that covered all of that. Yeah, and of course there will be a code of conduct and rules and so forth that players are going to agree to. So that's all, similar to other leagues. You have to agree to those and abide by those.
I still
Okay.
don't know who's who. Sorry.
God, this is still going on.
All right, let's go to a question about is there any plan to have player rankings along with team rankings? Mr. Tripp, maybe you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So there is definitely, we've had some conversation about the concept of achievements, which Viper was quite excited about, where it won't just all be about the tournament that you're playing in, but it could be, clip of the week, people submitting clips of the week, or other kind of, you can let your imagination run wild with the kind of achievements that you could have there. We're also looking from the platform to provide a bit more of a one-stop shop to some of the concerns that most teams have, like booking matches, who's attended the matches, and providing capabilities through bots so that you're able to have a bit more detail automatically about who played a match, and that can go into your own decision making going forward, and also your own kind of record. This is not short term. This is longer term. This is conversations that we've been having, and of course, we would love to hear from the community as well, ideas that you might have about what could make the bots, the platform, the rankings more interesting to yourself as an individual and your teams.
Yeah, we
If
got
I
a
could add a
couple of.
little,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I could add to that a little bit in terms of player rankings and that direct question, as of now, we all know there is no kill, death, assist, cap stat keeping system built into the game, and we've talked about potential ways of trying to incorporate that. So, in order to give you player rankings, we would need to have some way of recording statistics, and we had internally discussed, on match input where you're inputting what players played and what maps were played and banned. We also discussed the potential of inputting kill death statistics like that as well. But we also discussed how difficult it is for some teams, as busy as they are, to play their match and also keep track of all those stats. So it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, we will be looking at ways to do all of that, but without introducing too much friction, because obviously you don't want a feature that people just can't use or won't have the time to use. So, yeah.
So while
Yeah,
we're on kind of website stuff, there's another question about how will registration be handled for the tournament? You want to take that one as well?
Yeah, sure. So it's pretty basic. The website, you'll log in via Discord, so it's linked directly to your Discord account. Once you're logged in, you'll have the opportunity to register your team, or join an existing team. I think at the moment we will be just at, yeah, for sure it will be a team size of 8, just like they have at the moment. That's again, that might not. Someone asked a question earlier about the team size being different. That's something that we can discuss when we go into the season. But for the tournament, it will be 8. And then, yeah, you'll just be able to do at this stage basic management of the team, accepting people that try to join that team, and leave the team, and that's what we're aiming for the tournament. Of course, and hopefully matchmaking and match score entry will be there by the tournament as well.
Yeah, I mean, on this point, if if there's anybody in the community who is interested in helping out on the website, we are definitely open and looking for people to help out more. That's one of the core things that will make the competitive side manageable and give us tools and data and stats and more. So if you're interested, if you like doing front end work, reach out to us. We'll be happy to take your help. Um,
Yes, please.
all right, let's some jump to rules. James, do you want to talk a little bit about rules and think some of the things that we're looking at? There's been a few different mentions of shields already. So maybe that as well as utility and some of the other stuff that I mean, we're still in discussions, but what is the inclination so far?
Um, it's a basic overview. The rules in general are not going to be anything majorly different. There's nothing in there which is going to be a huge shock, I don't believe. I think the biggest difference we've sort of already referred to is the trial of the two map method, with each team hosting their own map. Um, that opens up some doors to potentially looking at map specific timers, which could be another deviation if we want to go that way. Uh, in terms of other rules, in terms of the utility and stuff, it's something we want to review. We're not necessarily wanting to go just allow everything, because there are balance reasons and exploitation reasons for bans potentially existing, and we need to make sure that there is not a requirement for everything to get overly moderated. However, we are trying to explore some avenues to allow shield back in some way. We're looking at different options for that, and it's something we'll be discussing with like the player advisory um, side of things, as well as captains, because we want to make sure we're getting community feedback on that. What we're It's hard because you get individuals get upset either way if you decide something. So we need to make sure that all sides are considered, and it's keeping in mind that we're wanting a game which is competitive. So we're going to make sure we get all that feedback and have those player advisory committees, weighing in on that sort of stuff. So that's utility side. What else? What else we looking at? I had this question in the last one, and I wasn't ready for that last time. I should have been more ready on this. Um, so we're looking at having much more, much less grey area in rules as well, wherever possible. It's not going to be entirely possible to have no grey area because you can't just write a 20-page document on rulings. However, things where we can make them less grey, we're looking to do that. So, such as ban spots instead of just a general guidance, we're looking to actually specifically ban certain locations if required. Um, and that will also then allow the tier one mods to then feed that back to DPI and be like, hey, look at this specific spot which has been listed. Is that something you want in the game or not? Is that something you're wanting to address? And it gives them something to work from rather than just a nebulous rule. Other than that, we're also looking at reducing timeouts, getting the game to flow a bit better, reducing timeout length at least, and also getting the games to start in a bit more timely manner. We're wanting to involve more community casters, which is something might talk to a bit more. Maybe Triple will talk to that a bit more in a bit. He's got more experience on that side. But part of involving more community casters will be that we're wanting, people not waiting when they're watching. So if you have a start time for a game, that's actually the start time. That's not the time in which the lobby is created. Things like that, which will take some adjustment, but are not really major differences. Um, what else we got listed in there? Um, that's pretty much the main ones. Just looking through. Also discussing whether best of nine would work better with the two map format. Still just a discussion. All the other sort of rules which are being written up at the moment, they're very standard. Don't be a dick, pretty much. And and then just some clarification of what the format of the matches are and how to create lobbies, all that sort of fun stuff.
Swapping
Yeah,
home teams is a new thing for people since we're going to a best of two.
yeah. So there's no
So
really there will be a team listed as being home, just so that like if we do bans or whoever, just to clarify which team hosts first or which team bans or whatever. Um, However, the home won't have that same level of advantage as a three map system because you'll get one map each, and you will host your own map. Um, Within the tournament, we're looking at pre-selecting the maps. Whether we do that within the league, we haven't decided, or whether we have a minimized map pool from which you uh, select your maps. Again, something we're just work in progress. Yep. I think that's pretty much all we've got. Rules wise, nothing too extreme there, I don't think. I'm sure some people may feel otherwise. And if you do feel otherwise, let us know. Um,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like we don't have a lot of things decided right now, but we are relying heavily on the community, and the community has just started. I mean, this is the first town hall. The Discord's been open for a couple of days. We are getting people in place, and that player advisory panel. Um, I just,
Player
I
advisory.
committee, whatever. Mama doesn't like the acronyms.
I hate that name.
We chose some people. The initial one is chosen by us. It will be voted on, I believe, later. But we chose people that are argumentative. I mean, they do not agree with each other, and hopefully that helps us determine to the best of the league's, you know, player base what they want. And it will hopefully get us all sides of any kind of argument, which is really what we want. We don't want a one-sided. Here's the easy solution. We want people to have discourse, and we want the community to give us their feedback.
We also don't want people just going, "Oh, okay." No, don't give in. If you've got something to fight for it.
with
Yeah.
reasoned.
Within reason, of course.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
Let's keep it, yeah, let's keep it civil and within reason.
Not just fighting for fighting's sake. Give reason as to why you have your opinion and all that sort of stuff.
So I'd like to, sorry, Trip, did you want to add more to that?
Well, I mean, I think they wanted to talk about community casting and stuff like that, so I could roll some of those into the end of James's stuff. We will have applications open for community casters, content creators. We want to allow community casters to be able to stream to their own channels with the approval of both teams. We want to allow people that maybe don't have a great voice but can run cameras really well, or vice versa. They can talk really well, but they don't have a great machine, or they don't want to understand how to run the OBS assets and things like that. We want to allow those people to incorporate themselves into the community. So we want to make a much more flexible way of doing everything. And I guess I'm technically in charge of all of that. So if you have questions, definitely come to me. We currently are accepting any help, logos, assets, web. Like we said, we will definitely appreciate anything, and we'll try and fit you in where we can. Right now, the focus is the tournament.
Right. So I noticed there were a few questions that I wanted to address. One of them was, let me scroll up here. Actually, let me go where I put it. What aspects of the league are incomplete? It's a really good question that I don't have a complete answer for. I will tell you that we are 110% committed. We do have some things that we have not finished that are in the works. We definitely want to, get this going and get as much of it out there to you all as we can. And we're, as everybody said, we're kind of just taking it one step at a time. We know what we want. We know what we want to see. We know what we want to hear. We want to hear, or we know that we want to hear from you all, and kind of, go from there. So hopefully that answers your question, Enigma. There was a little confusion. I wasn't entirely sure what that was pertaining to. Uh, there was another question that I wanted to touch base on. Will the actions of the mods be public? Punishments like forfeits, bans, and in particular judgments to not punish a particular situation. I think everybody here that has been with the league, no matter what league you're in, has been doing this long enough or has been in a league long enough to know that there are some things that we just can't share. We are going to be as transparent as we possibly can and try to get involvement on all aspects and bring everything forward as we can. Um, it's really going to be dependent on the situation, but our intention is, yes, to be as transparent and get information out to the players as much and as quickly as we can. If somebody else wants to elaborate on that, be my guest. Go ahead and
I would like to add on to that. All the decisions will have write-ups, and all of the decisions
right.
will have appeals.
Yes.
This is not a one-hit wonder. You're not out
Right.
forever. You can appeal it to a board of your peers. That's what the player panel is for.
Right. I did see. There you go, Trip. Etch. How can we tell you two apart? Gotta flip and
Oh
love it.
man.
Gotta flip and love it. Heck, like there's another question that's a good one. I think we already kind of touched base on that. We're focused on this right now, the Onward VR League. Yes. We have one step at a time. We're getting there. We are super excited. We can't wait to get
Sorry,
this
Mama,
going.
can you read the question before answering? Just because I can't know what you're
The,
referring to.
the question is, I noticed the league is named International VR League Onward. Are there considerations
Onward,
to
yeah.
expand outside Onward as it appears to be named in such a
Sailing
way?
machines.
And yeah. Also, raise your hand in chat if you can't hear Mama, because she's super quiet and I have her
Am I
at
really?
200%. So
Am I? Okay, hold
let
on.
me know if you can't hear. Okay, yeah, no, okay. So that's why I'm taking over. Yeah, we do envision plan expansion. We want to play VR games that are competitive. But right now, our focus is an Onward tournament, and then what happens after that is community based. If everyone wants a season, which it seems like everybody does, we're gonna run a season. I mean, that's the end goal for right now. And if you have games that you think are competitive and want to get vetted, sure, bring them towards us. The biggest thing that we want to stress is that the onward will remain onward. There will not be cross contamination of moderation in any sense in this league, in this community. So as long as you play onward, you will only have to deal with onward rulings.
Let's I guess I see there's a question that just came in about what are some examples of these situations that Mama mentioned that we
Yeah.
just can't share. It's a tough one to answer, but I think the way that I would put it is, um, in any case where we are requested that information be kept confidential, or for personal reasons or whatever it be, or the fact that there might be repercussions if that information gets released. Those are the situations when we would be unable to share more details than possible. Um, but I don't know if that helps explain it.
Well, yeah, I think it kind of does. One thing I want to make sure too, though, is I know in the past we've had a lot of issues. Can you guys hear me okay now? Is it better? Maybe.
Yep, fine.
A
Okay.
bit,
Fine.
A little
yeah,
bit
I think
louder.
it's better.
Um, with past experiences, we've had a lot of issues with, uh, and this is normal in a community. I totally get it. Where we just kind of blurt things out in the middle of God knows where and does say God knows what, and it just gets out. But it is going to be hard, as Etch said, to pinpoint those. We want to be, we want people to understand that, hey, you are coming to us and reporting this player, can we get you two together? Can we have you two talk and kind of, work it out or something? We're going to try to do something. It's going to be hard as far as that goes, but, hopefully we can work it out together.
And
I really
Viper,
feel like Heclac should apply for the player advisory committee.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's very
I'm kind of
argumentative
thinking,
and
I'm kind of
It's
thinking you
perfect.
should because you're kind of cornering me here, buddy. Cut it out.
Yes, it's
uh,
Slap, slap.
perfect. This is what we love.
Viper
Slap, slap.
actually had a very good rundown on how the ticketing system will work from the earlier one, which we'll have a link for after this. But basically, you can't anonymously accuse someone. They will
Right.
they will be told what the accusation is, and um, I do not understand at all. Viper has much better handle on it than I do. It's not my realm. I run casting, so. Uh, but yeah, I highly recommend watching that. And Heclac or somebody also asked if we can get a written out version of these town hall answers. We will definitely try our best to get a frequently asked questions or a recently asked questions, just to get all of this information out there. They are going to both be up on our YouTube, but we can go back through and pinpoint things that need to be written out and go through the channel as well on questions that didn't get answered, and we'll try and hit everything we can. And if we don't, just bring it up again in general chat. Like don't let it just go away.
Yeah, absolutely. The one of the reasons, I like seeing heavy hitting questions because those are the questions that need answering. And we're not going to shy away from answering any questions because better answer them now or else you're going to pay for it later when it, really matters, and you can't figure it out on the fly. You've got to answer hard questions early. Um okay, so there's a question that just came up as a follow-up to an earlier point about how there won't be cross contamination. So if we expand to a game like Pavlov, who is going to head that up? Is that going to be a new group? Is that going to be us? We don't know much about Pavlov, so how are we going to enter other communities? What will be the expansion plan at that point? Mama, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so it's what we hope to do if we have another, we'll just use PAV for example. If we open up that side of it, then I mean, we're obviously going to try to appoint people from PAV to help us move things along and do what we're doing here. We want to, again, this is basically community driven. It's all community driven. So we want the community to help us be the best that we can be and pull people from the game in order to help us get where we need to be with that. That's just a no-brainer. You can't have like myself. I don't know much about POV. I know I pick up a gun and I shoot it and I die every time, but I don't know everything there is to know about it. So I would want someone from there to help us with that. That's to me is a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. I think part of the, we're not the experts on those communities, so we will need to lean on the people who come to us and say they want a league. I think that's the sort of organic growth that we need. If we see that there's a need and there are players who want to form a league, then it happens. We already heard some interest earlier today for a VR racing league, which is
Yeah,
definitely
we did.
interesting. And we were like, "Huh, that's a cool idea."
Yeah.
Um, we didn't even think about that.
So yeah, and I mean, again, we'll have the upper board. Not, I call it upper board, but everything's kind of in motion, and everything's going to eventually change. But you're going to have people for onward. You're going to have people for racing. You're going to have people for POV. But the overall will be, there's still going to be someone, if not a couple of someone's up there saying, we have to be unbiased. We have to. So we're going to work together as a group to figure it all out. You'll be the first to know, trust me.
Okay, so we are nearing the end of time. Let's go through a couple quick hit questions and do kind of rapid fire. I'll blurt out a question. Someone shoot me an answer. What will the age restrictions be for IVRL?
16 plus, which probably won't make some people happy, but
Yep.
that is the current voted upon and is, I don't know, potential to change, I would assume, as everything is, but that's the current standard.
Will there be MMR? What will the rankings look like? Will there be challenges? There's a lot of questions around that. Someone give me a quick hit answer about what rankings might look like.
So there is kind of a standard in esports quality, competitive shooters and other titles as well, where there's a system of essentially bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, that sort of thing, and then usually some one or two tiers at the very top that are unique to the game itself. And I think we haven't fully decided on that, but essentially we're going to follow that. There's no real need to reinvent the wheel. I mean, that's kind of a proven standard in the esports realm. So as far as I know, that's kind of something that we're looking at sticking with.
Okay, PC VR Beer League versus Main League. James, give me a quick hit response on what that's all about.
There will be a PCVR only beer league. Not necessarily beer involved, as I said in the previous one. However, the intent of it is to have a more relaxed league. You can play on either. You can play in both leagues. They're separate. So if you're on a combined team in the main league and you want to join up with a few other PCVR only players for the PCVR only league, come over, have some fun. The intent of it is just to, uh, you know, play with other PCVR players on when there's not the cross map problems. However, those cross map problems in the main league are things we're also then going to be looking to feed back to DPI and all that sort of stuff. Um, just an outlet for PCVR only players.
Will Globochem and Mayhem be participating in this beer league?
Globochem and Mayhem will be participating in the beer league. I will only be playing in the beer league, which will remove some of my personal
It's because you can't
moderation side.
crack it in the regular league.
Yeah. Sounds like people want some revenge.
Um, so yeah, I'll be in the beer league. I'll be having fun there. And come join us if you want to.
Okay, let's talk about sponsorships, prizes, and how can people donate? Sickness, quick hit response.
Yeah, so as of right now, we are having discussions with multiple sponsors. Some people asked whether or not there's going to be a prize package at the end of this tournament. That is TBD. But I can tell you that we are definitely focusing on the tournament and the structure and the community aspect of things. as far as this tournament is concerned, but more long term for season one, yeah, we're definitely looking to put together sponsorship packages with prizes as well as some monetary prizes as well. And if you have any ideas about how we can expedite that process that are outside of what we've already thought of and are working on, then feel free to reach out to us if you've got any direct relationships that you'd like to share with us.
On the
Just quickly
coattails
on
of that, oh, go ahead, James. Sorry.
I was just going to quickly add on to the prizes side. We've also been talking. We talked about this in the previous one again, but we've been talking about prizes not necessarily just being for the winner of the season. We talked about having some other prizes for like submitting clips and all that sort of stuff throughout the season, so you get that community involvement, and so that the prizes are not just going to the same two teams every season. Um, Something we want to investigate more of.
Okay, on the next one, what there were some questions about lands and what does the future look like for in-person events? Sickness, you want to touch on that briefly?
Sure. Now, we have talked about this extensively as Thunder Pilot isn't here, and we had a couple, Viper, obviously, as well. And we all, some of us have experienced what Onward feels like to play in a LAN in front of a crowd of your peers and to get to meet the players that you've been competing with season after season. And for me personally, that was one of my lifelong highlights. And though I don't want to promise you a timetable for that, it is definitely something that we've discussed and that we're serious about pursuing.
Okay, let's see if there's any other quick hits that we can hit. If you have any questions in from the audience, drop it in now. We can probably get to a couple more. Let's see. If you want to help, how can you help? Reach out to us. We're going to put out some forums for specific asks like casters and things of that nature. But if you've got an idea and you think you can contribute in some way, reach out to us and we will put you to work. We'll take all the help we can get.
Stubbs had a good question at the very beginning that I think we skipped over about can there be a notice before things are banned? I would assume that we are going to make a point that X, Y, or Z is currently being investigated so that you are aware, teams are aware, because we also need team feedback to know we can't test everything 100%. So if, like, say, Volk drone is broken again, then we're going to say, hey, we're investigating the Volk drone. I don't know if it'll be a 2-week notice. That seems like a long time, but
Yeah.
yeah, it'll definitely be known.
Yeah, that's a tough one. We can't really. 2 weeks is a little. But I can tell you that I know James is adamant about testing every little nook and cranny. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and I'll have
And
more time to do that because I'll be separated from day to day, and I'll get a team to help me out. Be good.
yes, you will.
Okay, how do you get your team casted? Seems like voting doesn't always seem to get casts. Trip, you want to touch on kind of the casting culture briefly? You talked already a little bit about this, but what are we going to try to
Yeah.
emphasize
Um,
new?
yeah, so we're trying to just let more people do it, which is a big thing to keep the availability up. We really didn't have a whole lot of availability last season. I know I was very away, so most of our main people were not available, and that's more what happened. It was just timings, matches overlapping, things like that. So hopefully with community members being able to cast with the agreement of the captains or the two teams, and maybe more spread out. I don't know. We've talked about a couple of ways to do it internally. We've talked about having reruns, overlapping matches, all kinds of things. And if you have ideas on it, we would love to hear it. But basically, we don't want to stop someone from getting cast as long as the teams are okay with it. Anyone can do it, and I feel like that opens up a large amount of games to get casted. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good.
So I wanted to add that in terms of the casting team, we've also discussed having multiple positions within the casting team where, maybe somebody potentially isn't, doesn't do great on camera, but they're, they can't do the commentation or maybe don't have the personality for it, but they're great with the camera work. So we have we're discussing cameraman position, also color commentators who might not have the PC or the technical skills to run a cast on their own, but they can offer color commentation. And then obviously the traditional casting, which would be all inclusive.
Trip, a question for you. Are you going to work with the rookie boot camp? How do
I
you
was
plan to
just
use
typing
it?
that. Dang
Absolutely.
nabbit.
We
I was just
absolutely
typing
are.
that.
And I will add that to my big block of answered questions in the middle of the page.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
coming from a team that came from rookie boot camp, absolutely we
yes.
will.
Yeah, and not to mention, I wanted to mention real quick too. That was when I first started out with Onward. That was one of the things that I was really, really into was helping the Onward rookie boot. I was part of the rookie boot camp, so yes, we're definitely going to be doing that.
We will not, however, I will unbiasedly tell them that there are 2 leagues available. I'm not going to push new players to either league. That is on you. All of you people have to bring players to where you want to play with them.
There you go.
Yeah, and I think it's an awesome thing of like you have the agency of choice. If this works out, you know you're not set, you're not stuck with one option. You've got multiple options, and you can choose what fits you better, what fits your team better, um, and play there.
And we think that a little bit of healthy competition as well, it just promotes the betterment of the products that are available to you to play competitively. And, um, it's just, I mean, that's just kind of how capitalism works, right? I mean, if you have a monopoly, there's no incentive to improve. And that's another reason why we've provided another option. It's going to, if nothing else, it is going to better the Onward slash VR competitive scene as a whole. And that's just something that we're super interested in.
There was a question about can we invite everybody we can? Or the floodgates open?
I already
Um,
said
yeah,
yes. Heck yes,
absolutely.
man. Bring
Bring
them
people
in.
in. We'll have signups open for the tournament soon. We want to see as many teams as possible here. I think it we should say though is don't go over advertising or spamming or do anything of those sorts. But invite your friends, invite people that invite your teammates, invite teams that you play with, and yeah, all of you are the league, so you are the salespeople of the league. Very true.
Are there any important ones that we missed? I'm looking back through.
Yeah, I was trying to scroll through while listening,
Um,
and I can't do
Challenges.
both.
How will challenges work? Do we have a set in stone idea for that? Because right now it's just tournament. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming
we've
that's still in flux.
we've had a bunch of discussion about challenges and trying to fix the problem of lack of challenges or teams even if they were available choosing not to do challenges, finding ways we can incentivize a system where teams play more and they're not rewarded for not playing or even going inactive. But I don't think we have any concrete answers for how that will be accomplished, just some ideas and some concepts. But if people have ideas on challenges, do post them in general or even in the Town Hall Questions channel.
It looks like we've gotten, I think, most of everything.
I
Do
saw
one
someone
last
ask
question.
multiple times about Oculus venues and
Yeah.
other potential outlets of branching out. And I'll just touch on that really quickly. Anything that we think is going to further the brand, further the league, and help us grow while still maintaining our core set of values, which is basically community, transparency, and integrity. Anything that we can do, we will be exploring definitely.
There were a couple questions about our brand and design and so forth. We built a brand that is IVRL typography by itself. It's simple, it's clean, it's got a little bit of retro in it, but it's generally clean and modern. Black and white primarily. We also have game specific logos such as the Onward one that you see on the Discord icon. That one, it's a shield. It shows, it's again has the same sleek modern look as well as kind of, a little bit of futuristicness because VR, of course, is the future of esports. And we'll be making each, for different games in the future, we'll be making specific game shields for them. But our colors right now are primarily blue, white, black, and gray. Um, and we will be showing our website very, very soon. It's been in progress. It's been being worked on very hard, and we're very close to showing it. Couple days, and we'll probably have something for you folks next week or so forth. Can't wait for people to see it, and that'll be really exciting. Any last questions you guys want to answer?
Hecklack has the last one. I think will the footage from the official cast be sole property of the league? I assume everything is going to be Creative Commons. It will be uploaded to YouTube for archiving, and y'all can have at it. I don't see any reason that we would restrict that.
We certainly hope so, Sky. He's asked if the expectation is this will grow as big and become as concrete as VRML. Um, that's what we're planning.
Bigger, even
Big,
bigger.
Yeah, we don't want to restrict ourselves to any previous experience that you've had. I mean,
right.
obviously, we can't avoid the question that some of us do come from VRML, and there's going to be comparisons drawn. But we have our own sort of vision for how we want to grow and how far we want it to go. And I'll just say that there's nobody out there right now that is doing what we intend to accomplish. So if that answers the question, I know it's a little vague, but at this point we got to be a little bit vague so we don't make promises that we can't fulfill, right? What did Viper say earlier? He said under promise and over deliver. And I think that's something that we're definitely planning on doing.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't noticed by now, we have one hell of a team right here. These guys have been busting their butts every single day to bring us the best of the best. So I have no doubt we're going to be up there.
Okay, well, I think with that, we're at 8:10, 8:11. I think we can wrap up. If you have any other questions, do drop them in. General, we'll try to get to them. Otherwise, we're looking forward to the tournament on the 30th. We'll have registrations opening up very soon. Of course, we'll post info and all of that with it. Um, but yeah, we hope to see you all at another town hall in the future.
Sweet. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate you guys all showing up. Just keep showing up, keep voicing your opinions and giving us your questions. And obviously, we'll do the best we can to answer them and utilize the information.
Yeah, just as a final note, this was all recorded, will be uploaded to our YouTube, and you'll be able to view the one from earlier as well. And we're going to go through the Town Hall questions channels, and I will consolidate and answer as many as possible in one nicely formatted answer, Mr. Tripp. So there will be that.
Have a great
Thanks,
night,
everyone.
everyone.